All right, what's your name?
Carl Gustafson.
All right, Carl, could you name a good leader?
Good leader?
Mm-hmm.
I love the fact how I go blank on there. A good leader. We'll go with.
Could be anybody.
Yeah. We'll go with Patton.
Okay. And what do you feel like made him a good leader?
Pretty much because he inspired people to do something that they would never do otherwise. I mean, there's no way that you would lead people right on the edge of your supply line to go right into the teeth of enemy fire, and his men did so willingly and excitingly.
Right. Okay. Could you define integrity?
Integrity is having a set of values that's more important to you than, the violating those set of values is more reprehensible than, succumbing to a more urgent, pragmatic need, maybe right off the bat.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Could you name a leader with integrity, and how do you know that leader has integrity?
Oh, what name a leader with integrity? Okay, I'm going to go way back on this one. I'm going to say Socrates.
Okay.
For two particular reasons. One's the famous one where he drank the hemlock himself, killed himself to stay true to his values of what he thought, in terms of educating, despite the fact that they said that he was corrupting the youth. And there's also a great story of when he was actually leader for a day of all of Athens,
mm-hmm.
and these people, I think it was like they retreated from battle or something like that, and everybody wanted to kill the leaders of the people who let them retreat, and he said, no, you're going to regret it. We're not going to do that. Was very, very just very, very unpopular, the decision he made. And actually, the next day, when the new leader came, because they had the system where a new person led the city-state every day, the new person came in the next day, and they killed him then. And then, a month later, they regretted it. And
yeah.
So, I mean, yeah. So ultimately,
okay.
We'll go Socrates on that one.
All right. Define ethics.
Ethics is. You'd think I have a philosophy degree. You'd think that it'd be easier with that, but actually, it makes it more difficult. Ethics is the study of, morality is kind of like a circular definition. I mean, ethics, as a consequentialist, I always say it's a calculus of weighing, the best possible events versus, personal, the best thing personal as opposed to the best thing for the group.
Okay.
And that is not always the easiest. Ethics is the study of what actually is the best thing for the group.
Okay. All right. And then last question is, name an ethical leader, and what would you think? Why do you think that leader's ethical?
Okay, so we'll go with something different off of there. I'll try to come up with a different one.
It could be anybody.
Yeah. An ethical leader. We had. That's a hard one. It's a lot easier to come up with. Besides, I'd go with Socrates again if I could. But
that's fine. Go ahead.
Just the same kind of reason I said there.
Yeah.
To be able to stand up into a public face and say, no, this is the wrong thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to kill these people coming back. Even though this is exactly what you think it is, it's what we typically do, even. Mm-hmm. But it's the wrong thing to do. That that's to stand up in that kind of face.
For it.
Exactly. The easy thing would be, and it's actually better for the group to say, hey, we shouldn't be killing people, even if they retreat, because sometimes battles are unwinnable.
Yeah. So have you had any formal leadership study or anything like that, classes?
Through work.
Through work and stuff?
Through different forms of vocation, through,
okay.
Both I worked in the casino industry, and so I was a floor supervisor there, and we did leadership seminars. Also through retail training and other corporate leadership ventures.
Okay. And how old are you?
I'm 29.
29. That works. All right. What's your name?
Megan Higdon.
All right. Could you name a good leader? Could be anybody.
Anybody? Isn't that sad? It takes a lot to be a good leader. Oh. I wouldn't even say, the natural answer would be the president. I don't think he's a good leader. I think our new boss is a good leader.
Okay, why do you think he's a good leader though? That's really, I mean, it could be anybody.
Because he follows through with everything he says and he holds you to things.
Okay.
He motivates you, stays on top of you, making sure you're doing. And he sets expectations and makes sure that you meet those expectations.
Okay.
We don't necessarily like him too much, but he's a good leader.
But he's a good leader. Okay. Could you define integrity?
Integrity, honesty, truthfulness. If something has integrity, it's strong, I guess.
Okay. Could you name a leader with integrity?
I mean, I think our boss has integrity. He seems to be pretty honest. He's good about if you have any problems going to him, and he'll fix it because he wants everything to be fair and even. So.
Okay, so that was why you think he has integrity. All right. Could you define ethics?
Ethics is doing the right thing. Making sure what you're doing is fair and not unethical, obviously. But I think ultimately it boils down to just doing the right thing.
Okay. And could you name an ethical leader, and how do you know that he is an ethical leader, or she?
Definitely not our old boss. I think our manager over at one of our other locations is Aaron Mueller's is very ethical. I mean, there's never any question that what he's doing is shady or with wrong intentions. He's just a very honest person's always doing. I feel like every decisions he makes them for the right reasons.
Okay, very good. Have you ever had any formal leadership training or leadership classes?
I mean, I'm sure I took a class in college, like ALED.
Okay.
Is that what you're taking?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah.
All right.
I've taken that.
All right. And how old are you?
23.
All right. All right. What's your name?
Erin Grace.
All right. Could you name a good leader for me, please?
I would say Bill Gates.
What makes Bill Gates a good leader?
I think because, let's see, well, I mean, he's got, obviously a huge company that he's had to create, and he also uses a lot of his earnings to donate to his Bill and Melinda Foundation, so I think that's,
Mm-hmm. Very good. Could you define integrity, please?
Integrity. I think that a person with integrity is dependable and has good character, and is an all-around, good person.
Mm-hmm. Could you name a leader with integrity, and why, or how do you know that person has integrity?
Okay, I guess I would say maybe Truth Kathy. He is the founder of Chick-fil-A.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd say that because you go into Chick-fil-A, I mean, every time it's the same kind of environment you go in. It's welcoming, and they're off on Sundays, and it says on the door because of families, and I just think that's a really good,
Yeah, definitely. Okay, could you define ethics?
Ethics are doing things in a business setting, just that are morally correct.
Okay. And could you name a leader? Would you consider an ethical leader? And how do you know that person is an ethical leader?
I don't know off the top of my head.
I mean, it could be a boss, it could be a friend, mom and dad.
Yeah, I mean, okay, then my dad, I mean, he just bought over a huge insurance company, and he is the most ethical person that I know. I mean, he won't bend rules for, something that's for shady situations or just things like that. I mean, that stuff that he's told me, he said, it's your reputation is what you have, and, you gotta keep it, so.
Definitely. Okay, have you ever formally studied leadership or had any leadership training?
No, not really. I mean,
that's fine.
Not too much formal, but.
And how old are you?
22.
22. Okay, could I get your name, please?
Stacy R. Fairbanks. Start over.
Could I get your name, please?
Stacy Fairbanks.
Okay, could you please name a good leader?
A coach.
Any coach in particular?
No.
Or all coaches good
Just all
leaders?
coaches.
Okay, what makes coaches good leaders?
Because they know how to get their team to play hard, and the majority of good coaches know how to do that.
Okay. Could you define integrity, please?
No.
No?
No. Can I get my dictionary? Pretty much, you're good. You're a good person.
Okay. Could you name a leader with integrity?
Sherman, but he wasn't necessarily.
Sherman?
Yeah,
Okay.
Sherman. He had integrity
Well, how do you know that Sherman was a leader with integrity?
because he wasn't one of those coaches that disrespected his players on the field.
Okay, that's good. Could you please define ethics?
That you pretty much consider the thing that's right whenever you make a decision.
Okay. And could you name an ethical leader?
I like Aaron Mueller too.
Okay,
He's
and how do
very
you
ethical.
how do you know that he's ethical?
Because he thinks about the business as a whole, and then he'll think about his employees as a whole. He'll think about himself. He'll think about the customer. He thinks about a lot of things as he takes the consideration of a decision.
Okay. Have you ever formally studied leadership or had any leadership classes or training?
Not really.
No? And how old are you?
22.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Could I get your name, please?
Ben Lyles.
All right. Could you please name a good leader for me?
Say Craig Corcoran.
Okay. And what makes him a good leader?
I would say he's consistent. I think it's a big thing. He cares for his people, but
Okay.
consistent, straight shooter.
All right. Could you please define integrity?
I would say just doing the right things.
Okay. And could you name a leader with integrity?
Chris Scares,
Okay. And how do you know that that leader has integrity?
because he talks about it all the time, and what he does is
And-
he pretty much does what he speaks about.
Okay.
So,
Okay. Very good. Could you define ethics?
I would just say doing things the right way.
Okay. And could you name an ethical leader? And how do you know that that person is an ethical leader?
I would say Howard Zeroff,
Okay.
and then how I would know, just by his actions.
Okay.
You know, and he talks about it all the time and seems to be.
Lives by it. And
Yeah, exactly.
acts by it.
Yeah.
Okay. Very good. Have you ever formally studied any leadership or had leadership training?
Mm-hmm.
You have. And what kind of just through job training?
Job, college,
Okay. And how old are you?
29.
29. All right. Can I get your name, please?
Colton Jamala,
All right. Could you please name a good leader?
a good leader. I have to go with myself.
Yourself? Okay.
Yeah.
And what makes you a good leader?
I've really, the thing is I have a problem with authority. So like if anybody else tells me what to do, I don't really go with it.
Yeah.
So to become a leader, you have to have a big problem with authority.
Okay.
That way you can be the leader, so you
Right.
don't have to take any orders.
Okay. Okay. Could you define integrity?
Integrity, is doing the right thing for yourself constantly.
Okay. Could you name a leader with integrity?
Again, I'd probably have to go with myself. You know.
Okay. How do you know, or what makes you think that you're a leader with integrity? What do you do?
You know, I show up to work every day. You know, I just try to make sure I have myself in line so I can get promoted and get paid the most. Make sure I'm doing the right things for myself.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. That's very good. Could you name define ethics?
Ethics, it's a tough one. There's a lot of gray when it comes to ethics, but as far as I think the way a person's brought up, they should probably follow that. You almost have to have a person that you look up to for that. Unfortunately, nowadays it's really hard to find that person. But as far as me, it's just making sure, you know, I just treat people the way I want to be treated. That's the main thing.
Okay, very good. Could you name an ethical leader?
Ethical leader, man, I have to say go with myself again. You know,
Just for the way you care about people
just for the way I care about people. Look out for, well, you know, I try to help people at work, but not to the point where they're going to get above me. You know.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Have you ever formally studied leadership or had leadership training?
Leadership, I've got my degree from UTSA out of San Antonio, and I've had, I guess, some leadership management courses through there. Whether it's I've done international and here as well, but
Okay.
yeah.
How old are you?
24.
24.